lunged at me and let out a scream. I about shit my pants. Jeez. And in a knee-jerk reaction, I sprayed him straight in the face. Bad idea. He was pissed. What else we got here? She's like, where's that noise coming from? Hello and welcome to Talk About Strange. Thank you for joining me here today. I got a really special guest. This is my granddaughter, Bella. Isn't she amazing? Yes, you are, and you know she knows she's amazing. She is not a Bigfoot, just so you know. She's just cute and adorable and melts my heart. So I got a whole bunch of grandbabies now. You guys all know about my daughters that I have. I have 3 beautiful, amazing daughters, but I also have some amazing grandchildren. So just to name them all off, I got Addison, Gracie, bless you, Joey, Alex, Emma, and Bella. So that's all my grandbabies. And she normally doesn't take to people like this, so I'm kind of surprised and loving it. But anyway, we're going to have a great show, right? Yeah? Look at you. Oh my God, I might not be able to do the show tonight. Oh, I'm going to give you back to mommy, okay? Yeah? Say bye. Say bye. Say bye to everybody. Isn't she amazing? Oh, wait, let me get my headphones. Isn't she amazing? I'm so happy. I love all my daughters and my grandchildren. They just melt my heart. They're the most important thing to me in the entire world. Well, let's start with my wife, my daughters, my grandbabies. So anyway, and you guys come right along in there someplace too, I'm sure. So anyway, yeah. So I got a phenomenal story for you here tonight. Man, this one's going to blow your mind. So these stories that have been coming in are just out of this world. So I'm really so thankful to the contributors, to the people that are trusting me and you guys, the viewers, with these amazing stories and information and coming forward. And with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the story. Let's just kick back and enjoy, and I'm going to get started right now. My name is John Jr. I'm 54 years old and live in the state of Washington. However, my encounter experience happened in Tennessee a little over 3 years ago. Your channel is the first channel I've seen that is really actually covering these Bigfoot hybrid people, at least to this extent. I'm amazed and thankful that they are finally coming forward. I would say that it's because of you and this channel that they are doing it, but let me get started. I guess it was close to 3.5 years ago. My wife and I were on vacation and we rented a cabin in the Smoky Mountain National Park. I thought it would be a good idea to look for the most secluded cabin location possible so we could have total privacy while we were there. And after all, we were trying to escape the city life for a while anyway. But still, I wanted to be able to enjoy some of the town activities. So we visited the museums, watched some dinner shows, and ate as much Southern cuisine as possible. Trust me on that one. I understand. While my wife shopped, I took the opportunity to zip line for the first time in my life, and then had to go back and change my briefs. No, I'm just joking. It was amazing, and I really can't wait to do it again someday. On our last full day there, my wife and daughter that lives in Tennessee spent the day together and I went on a hike. Unlike some of the stories I've heard about other people not bringing the proper supplies, I was ready for almost anything, but I guess I wasn't prepared for what I'd witnessed that day. That's my grandbaby, if you can hear her in the background. Soon after my wife and daughter left, I finished assembling my backpack and set out for the day. Just to be clear, I thoroughly researched the area before we even booked this cabin. I had a map, compass, flint, rope, knife, food and water, and amongst other things, even flares for real emergencies. It's definitely not my first rodeo, as they say. Still, nothing could prepare you for what I was going to come across that day. I set out around 9 a.m. I hiked across and up the mountain on the way out so that on my return would be mostly downhill. The reason I say this is because I pre-marked it out on a map so that I would have a planned hike and my wife would have a copy of it just in case anything went wrong. To quote Robert Burns' poem, "To a mouse, even the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. Awry. Is it awry or array? Awry, right? I always wondered how that went. Very cool. Nice. I reached the furthest point of my planned hike and stopped for a break and a bite to eat before my return. While I was sitting there enjoying my PBJ and the view, I heard something heavy-footed walking through the woods behind me. I was rethinking my PB&J because bears love peanut butter. I listened for a while and kept a lookout around me while I finished my break, and I didn't hear it anymore, so I figured it was probably just a bear passing through. I began my return above the path on the higher elevation with the plan of descending as I got closer to the cabin. I was thinking about how amazing it was there compared to Washington. Don't get me wrong, I love Washington, but Tennessee is another world altogether. I even toyed with the idea of moving there. The things you think about when you're alone and really enjoying yourself. True. That was about the time I heard those footsteps again. This time they were coming from behind me at a lower elevation between me and my original path in. I kept my eyes peeled, but for the life of me, I couldn't see anything. I continued until I reached a point of where I was going to start my descent, but whatever it was in my path and starting to get closer to me. I thought it was best that I might maybe circle back the other way and avoid it altogether. So I started my way away from the sound, and as I walked, I stopped hearing it. As much as I hated the thought of backtracking, I was glad that I was moving away from whatever that was. That feeling didn't last, though, because just as when I thought I was in the clear, I heard the sound of it running up the hill through the woods straight at me. I still couldn't see what it was through the thick brush, but I knew I needed to gain some distance if I could. Only whatever it was stayed in the woods just out of sight, but close enough that I had to keep running to avoid it. I was almost back to the midway point when I reached a clearing I remembered seeing on the way in. I knew it was big enough that if I finally could see what was chasing me. I stopped and aimed my spray can at the opening as it broke through the brush. I opened the stream into its path just as I hoped it ran smack into it. Only I was aiming down low expecting a bear. I wasn't expecting something 7 to 8 foot tall. So when my spray hit it in the waist area, he stopped and turned to me, and I froze in disbelief. I never in my life did I ever think I would come face to face with a real-life Bigfoot. I never ruled it out. I just never thought in the world I would see one. We both stopped and stared at each other. It's almost like he was confused when he seen me too. The best I can describe him is he was covered in tannish brown hair. He had human features, but obviously wasn't human. He was a lot bigger than me, but I thought he would be bigger compared to the stories I've heard. To me, he looked a lot like a prehistoric caveman, only bigger. I struggled with the idea of spraying him in the face because even though he wasn't human, I really didn't want to hurt him or piss him off. But then he lunged at me and let out a scream. I about shit my pants. Jeez. And in a knee-jerk reaction, I sprayed him straight in the face. Bad idea. He was pissed. I started running and undoing my backpack and dropped it so that I could run faster. I was afraid to look back and just kept running as fast as I could, calling out for help. As I was reaching my midpoint rest area, I saw a rather large man waiting and watching me run in. I waved at him while running. "Run, man, run!" But the fool just stood there. As I reached him, I stopped to tell him to run, but he pushed me towards my trail to head back towards the cabin and said, "Go, keep running." I didn't have time to argue, so I did. But then I looked back just on time to see that Bigfoot run right into him. He rolled backwards and with his feet launched the Bigfoot down off the trail and continued him rolling down the hill. I stopped and ran back to see if the guy was okay. By the time I got there, he stood up and was brushing himself off. When I asked if he was okay, he actually grinned at me like this was just another day for a walk. Then said he was fine, but I should probably keep moving. I asked him if he knew what that was, and he said, yeah, he's a local. I said, okay, like really? Why is this guy so nonchalant? So I asked him, so should I report it when I get back? And he said, sure, if you like looking crazy, go ahead. I said he was about to kill me, and he laughed and said, no, he was just messing with you, at least until you pepper sprayed him anyway. I said I was scared and, and asked how he knew I pepper sprayed him. He looked at his shirt and smiled at me because it was all over him. I apologized and thanked him for stepping in, then asked if he thought I'd be safe to go back and get my backpack along the way on the way back to the cabin. He said, sure, let's go and I'll walk with you. He walked with me until we reached the area where I was going to head down the hill towards the cabin, then said that I would be fine from here and went along his way. He didn't talk much, but he was a really nice guy, a big guy. He was tall and built like that Jason Momoa, the actor, if you know who I'm talking about, only maybe bigger. He even had the hair, come to think of it. My guess is he was probably 6'7", maybe 6'8", but there was obviously something different about him. I still wonder, why was he even there in the first place? I really can't prove that he was a hybrid Bigfoot, but if I was a betting man, I'd put it all on him. He was big, strong, and fast. He even had a larger than normal brow and long hair on his face and his head. And he had a coolness about him I can't really describe. If he wasn't, he was one tough dude. If by any chance he hears this, I just want to say one more time, thank you, buddy. I know for a fact you saved my life that day, and I will be forever in your debt. Anyway, that's my encounter story. I'm well aware that there will be some doubters, but I don't really care. You really need to see it to believe it, and once you do, there's no going back. Thank you for taking the time to read my story, Steve. John. Wow, John. Thank you so much for sending that in to us. What a wild story, and how exciting and how dangerous, man. It sounds like you came really close. Oh my goodness. You hear all kinds of different experiences, encounters that people have, and it usually is by accident. It's really interesting to hear that he was, possibly just messing with you, stalking you, playing around, just trying to scare you or whatever else. I don't know. But thank God that guy was there to step in, because, yeah, you probably could have been in a lot of trouble. So who knows? But really amazing story. I really appreciate you sending that in to us. And I hope whoever it was does hear this and maybe even writes into us. That would be really cool, right? I know you guys would love it. Anyway, so that's it for now. I don't have any other updates. Look for the information about our Sunday shows at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got a lot of really cool stuff to come. And other than that, thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening, day, whenever you watch this. And thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out that Talk About Strange store. Get yourself some awesome swag. It's really nice stuff, and you're going to really enjoy it. That's it for now. Take care. I'm out. Look at the pretty lights. Look at the pretty lights. Aren't they neat? Watch. Oh, wait. What is that? What's that? Ready? Isn't that neat? Ready?